Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies coming at you with more old world content. You guys have been lapping up the old world content and I am more than happy to continue producing it as long as you guys are keen to watch it. So I made a video last week about the idea of, how do we play old world if we don't have access to miniatures and when the things are going to come out and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people in the comments talked about the concept of using miniatures from Age of Sigmar and putting them directly into the old world. Of course, I have thought about this before. I have played Warhammer for 20 something years now. I played a lot of old world, I played a lot of Age of Sigmar 40k. I know all about all the different miniatures that can port over. And obviously I was curious to see how many of those things could actually work. If you notice in some kind of the promotional images and stuff that they show for the old world, say something like for instance Warriors of Chaos, they show the old miniatures displayed. When they show black orcs for orcs, they show the old black orcs. The reason for this is those miniatures were designed to rank up, fit together on a tray and be used in games of Warhammer. The newer Age of Sigmar models are not designed that way. So the question I have and what I want to try and tackle in today's video is, can you actually port those miniatures over, make them rank up, look good, fit well, and be usable in games of the old world? So I'm going to pick a couple of awkward units in today's video. I'm going to choose some Chaos Warriors, Chaos Knights, some Seraphon Croxigor, which are massive these days compared to the older thing, and then something like Wolf Riders from Goblins, as they are on the new smaller cavalry size base, so it's going to be a tight fit. So I'm going to try and get those 4 units built up and added to Age of Sigmar trays to see if they can rank up and if they look any good. So that's what today's video is going to be all about. Before I get into it, huge thank you to all of my active patrons. You guys are awesome. Without you guys, I could not continue to what I'm doing. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. If you're interested in getting involved with that yourself, there's links in the description below. Access to a private Discord server and an extra video every single week are just 2 of the awesome benefits for being involved. I think that's pretty much all I have to say before we get into this video. So let's jump in. Okay guys, like I talked about at the beginning of this video, the plan is to test the theory of, do Age of Sigmar miniatures work for the old world? Obviously the miniatures themselves are perfect, like some of the ones we'll be using here, which is Slaves to Darkness, which exactly are Warriors of Chaos. Simple as, they were just made in much more open posed positions than they used to be for the old world or Warhammer Fantasy when they were originally around. And that was one of the, one of the defining features of miniatures designed for Warhammer Fantasy Battle, is the idea that they were constructed with the idea of ranking up in mind, which means they couldn't have these big flourishing poses, sword sweeping or big crazy capes or anything like that, because then it would make them practically impossible to sit next to anyone else in a movement tray. Take these knights for instance. This is the first unit that I'm going to attempt to fit onto a new cavalry base, and I'm not going to lie, when I line up the 5 like this and look at the small area of space that I'm supposed to fit them in, I felt defeated already. I was like, I don't think this is going to work. This is insanity. Look how much everything overspills the base on both sides, whether it be the banner, whether it be the cape, the shield. Even the horses themselves are nearly as wide as the base. And this is the main reason I wanted to make this video, because I want people to get involved in the old world. I want them to enjoy it. I want them to be excited by it. I want them to play with it. I want them to build armies. But as it currently stands, Games Workshop has not put out a single thing, or has not got anything right now that will allow someone to get started in the old world. Everything is currently sold out. So of course we're going to go to the alternatives, which are some of the Age of Sigmar miniatures. Now a lot of people are talking about the idea that these miniatures are supposed to be used for the old world. When they say Warriors of Chaos, they intend for you to use these miniatures. And that's where I disagree. I thoroughly believe when we get back to the Warriors of Chaos section, they release their per battle force for the old world, they will include the old Warriors of Chaos miniatures and the old Warriors of Chaos Knights. The ones that are designed to be ranked up. Those are the ones they've shown off in promotional material already. They haven't put some Age of Sigmar ones on bases and painted those up. They've literally used the old traditional ones. Like we've already seen with the orcs are coming back out. They're not giving us the new black orcs, they're giving us old black orcs. They're re-releasing an older kit that had since been discontinued because it has a replacement out for Age of Sigmar. And then we're of course adding it into the old world. So yeah, it's one of those weird conundrums. I'm not sure whether they'll do it for all kits, whether they will tell us to use these guys or not, but I don't think any of them tested them in head office, so I decided to do it myself. So obviously one of the most important things I think I can say, and the most important tips that I can tell you guys for how to make these kind of units work, is you put all of the bases in the trays first. You do not, and I mean under any circumstances, when you're constructing miniatures, glue them to their bases. What you want is to have the entire basing structure inside the frame of the movement tray. And then you want to build the unit around that, because you know the final positioning of things, where they're going to sit, how they're going to sit next to. Like these guys have two capes, which are basically having to give each other a hug. See, one cape wraps around the back and one cape wraps around the front of the other guy on the left, on the right, sorry. And this works perfectly. It looks epic and it does fit. But if you had to just build 5 of these knights, glue them to the center-ish of the base like you traditionally would when building miniatures, you don't consider the rest of the squad around it, glued them down and then tried to put them into this tray, there is no way in hell that they are going together. This has to be a thought out process in order to stand a chance of making it work. And like I said, the Chaos Knights were a bit of a pain, and in fact the banner, musician and the swordsman are middle, and then they just go off to the right. Usually I like the command structure to be in the middle of the base and then have a spare knight on either side. Unfortunately I couldn't make the basing work with that. I couldn't make them fit together. So unfortunately I'm going to do it like this, which I think in the end looks really cool, as the command banner is sitting in the middle of the unit, which I think looks really cool. And it definitely is a crazily intimidating looking unit when it's all ranked up, and it does fit where you can make it work for Chaos Knights. And I have absolutely no intention of doing a Warriors of Chaos army right now. I do want to do all the armies for the old world and have them all ready for 1,000,000 battle reports that I plan to do. But the Warriors of Chaos are something that are a little bit further down on my list until I built this unit of knights, and then it might have leapfrogged a few armies down the list because I was just so impressed by how well it looked. And that's another thing. I'm very excited. I'm very much enjoying painting up the older style miniatures. I truly am, from the bottom of my heart, loving the process of getting my hands on some older style and older sculpted miniatures and getting painted on. I'm so happy to be digging through my pile of shame for models that I didn't think I'd ever actually get around to, and getting to build and paint and put them on bases and use them in games again is crazy. So you saw a bunch of pictures of the knights there. Like I said, I think they look fantastic. The next thing I wanted to do, which I thought was going to be even trickier again, is a unit of Chaos Warriors. So I laser cut a base for 18 guys. I got 18 bases ready. And what I did was I just built the 10 snap fit ones from the start collecting box. So these Chaos Warriors, you have absolutely no control over their pose, their shape, and they are all in quite wazzy shapes and poses. So I was like, okay, this is going to be a real test. Can I use these miniatures to rank up for the old world? And as you've seen, like I said before, you put the bases in the tray and then you start to rank up miniatures. Who can stand next to who doesn't overlap the base too much if he's sat here, who can go next to him. And when you're finished with this, I never showed it on camera unfortunately, but the idea is you would then take the base, you would start from the left and you'd work from the right. So the first base in the first row on the left hand side, that would be 1A, and then you would go across the fighting rank, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, 6, and then you go to the next rank, 1B, 2B, 3. So whenever you're putting the models out of your case and you're setting them up in their tray, you flip the base upside down, you know exactly the position they're supposed to go to into the tray. So you can remember to rank them up each time. You don't have to play, I don't know, Jenga or something every time you want to set up a squad. Jenga is a good analogy there, but I guess it'll do. But as I started to construct these guys, I also had the idea of perhaps, like I genuinely was kind of, I didn't think these would work at all. So in my head I was like, okay, what are the alternatives? What could you do? And the idea of, what if you use the front rank as new miniatures? I'm very sure you can get one rank to line up beautifully. And then you just use the old Chaos Warriors for the second, third or fourth rank if you're going to go really big with units. That might look really cool. Like the first line of guys is actually in motion and fighting, and the next guys are just reverently standing in the next rank waiting for their turn. But they did actually start to come together. They started to fit together and it started to look really cool. And I got a little bit more, once again, inspired than I was intending to be. And by that I mean, like I said, I only constructed 10 of these guys. But when I got like halfway through gluing these guys on and I seen that they were kind of ranking up and this was looking really cool, I did actually pause my recording of the video and I went away and constructed another 8 dudes, because I needed to see what a full unit of 18 Chaos Warriors is going to look like. I didn't have the banner or anything built. You don't get a banner in that snap fit unit. So here I went away, I built the icon unit and the musician, and I built a bunch of standard dudes. But of course then that comes that problem that I talked about before. The guys in the front rank of the unit currently have a set position. Now I need to remove 2 of those to put in the musician and the standard bearer, not have them disrupt everybody around them, and the 2 people that have been displaced from the front need to go now into the back ranks, and they also have to fit in and not displace anyone around. So this is where thinking ahead a little bit would have worked, I think, better. Here I am gluing together the last Chaos Warrior that I need. I'm not quite sure in the old world if Chaos will ever become the big bad like they're supposed to be. They kind of had their moment being the big bad with the end times. I'm not sure now we've gone back a couple hundred years in time. Will they bother making these guys the big bad, or just the menace from the north that doesn't really come down in large forces? It's like we've seen the story of when they come down from the north in large stories, so I don't know whether they'll focus on other things being more of a threat. I think that'll be a very interesting thing moving forward to see where they go with the lore for Warriors of Chaos. Will we have Archeon strolling down south to destroy Kislev? Who knows? Okay, so as you can see, I've cleared the front rank, and now it's time for me to fit the banner in. Obviously trying to make him go as centered as possible to the rest of the unit. And he sits quite well and looks quite impressive in there. And then of course with the chain reaction, once I took out the first 2, the next ones didn't fit, and the next one didn't fit, and the next one didn't. So I had to obviously take those all out and kind of rebuild the front rank the way I need it to go. As you can see, this guy just doesn't fit with the cape is in the way. So I keep having to choose the next guy, and the next guy, does he work? Yes, he fits around the cape beautifully. Obviously his cape then overlaps the base to the right a little bit more as well, so it's a whole process. And like I said, I think if you're conscious about doing it as you're doing it, I think you'll have a great time, and I think you'll make some absolutely stellar units. I was intending to do things like Saurus as well today. I have some Saurus built. I have some of the new Saurus cavalry built. I think the skink cavalry ones is what I would use as Cold One riders, as they are, you know, smaller and more delicate, and they will actually rank up into large units of knights. Agridons are gigantic. I don't think they're going to fit on a base at all. And let me know if you want me to try and test that, but I don't think Agridons would rank up into units of 5 or 8 cold ones. Might have to try and find some alternative use for an Agridon, which is very sad because those models are unreal. I guess the alternate use would be to use them in Age of Sigmar, but down to the final 3 guys that need to get glued in place. And as a person that used to play Warriors of Chaos back in the old world, back in Warhammer Fantasy, these guys look much cooler the way they're ranked up. Like they look like the kind of barbarian kings coming down from the north to really ruin your day. The way they all interlock, all the capes are going in different directions, all the different furs and pelts. Kind of ramshackled weapon choices, whether it be mauls or axes or swords. Everyone's shield design is unique and different. And as a unit, it's just so cool. Once again, during this video, I have no intention of doing a Warriors of Chaos army anytime soon, but by the end of recording this video, I had my unit of knights and my first unit of warriors built, ready to be sprayed and painted, and it's a very alluring thing. It's definitely pulling me towards them to give it a try. I love how these guys turned out. I'm not usually a big kind of chaos guy. I'm much more kind of like humans and elves, but yeah, this is dragging me away. So the last unit that I really wanted to talk about is something like this. So this is a Goblin Wolf Rider, which you're like, okay, this is a small miniature. It's a small cavalry unit. He obviously fits on a cavalry base very easily, unlike the Knights. And I'm like, yes, he does. But the thing you have to be aware of that there is now currently 2 different sizes of cavalry base. There is a standard cavalry base, or heavy cavalry, and then there's light cavalry bases. Now, light cavalry bases are a hell of a lot smaller than a standard knight, knight's base. As you can see, this is the difference in footprints between 5 bases. So now all of a sudden I have to make these Wolf Riders fit on these much more narrow, much smaller bases, and will they rank up and will they work perfectly? I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to glue or put the bases into the tray like I said, so I know exactly the positioning where they should go. Once again, I thought these guys might overlap each other a lot more and it might be a bit of a pain in the backside, but to be honest with you, it was a dream. These models fit perfectly. A little 5-man harassing unit for my Orcs and Goblins army. Beautiful miniatures. Yeah, I'm just so happy with them. They work so perfectly. I glue the champion straight at the middle. That's usually how I like to design it as well when I'm doing stuff like cavalry. I glue the middle one in first, because I don't want, you know, if you glue the left hand one, you start working your way across. If you glue the left one on and then one in has to be shunted a little bit to the right because he doesn't fit in the middle, one has to get shunted a little bit more and then a little bit. By the time you get to the end, the last one won't fit. He's just falling off the edge of the base, which is not what you want. So I like going in the middle and working my way out. I think is the most logical way of having these models fit. And fit they did. I also worked on another particular unit for this particular project. I did it during my stream on Twitch. For anyone that's curious, I stream on Twitch between 8 and 10 p.m. Irish time every single Tuesday and Thursday. If you're interested in coming along, joining in with some cool hobby, it's just a really great group of people, and all we do is sit around for 2 hours twice a week, getting some hobby done, being accountable, having a laugh, chatting about current events in Warhammer, enjoying ourselves. Also tormenting me. They like to torment me. But this is the unit that I did on stream the other day to see if they would work. I definitely didn't think these Croxagore would fit on these little 40mm bases, but my god did they fit. And my god, what a unit. It looks so bloody good. So, yeah. For some reason, the Age of Sigmar miniatures are working much better than I thought. I don't know why I was so pessimistic about this moving forward. I definitely have plans to use Cruel Boys as Orc Boys for myself, so I'm definitely going to move forward with that project and get a couple of units of Orcs done. Like I'm going to say, if you guys have any specific Age of Sigmar units you think would look great in the old world and you are nervous about trying to get them on bases and you want me to test it for you, I'd be more than happy to do that for you. Just let me know in the comments below if there's anything you think that won't rank up, and I'll see if I can make it work. Okay guys, and there we have it. I think we can consider this video a success. We have managed to get a ranked up unit of 18 Warriors of Chaos. We have managed to, with a little finagling, managed to get 5 Chaos Knights on their correct bases, ranked up and looking well. The Wolf Riders fit like a dream. The Croxagore fit even better. They look fantastic ranked up. Personally, I think all these units look better ranked up than they do kind of individually in Age of Sigmar, but that's just me. Hopefully this video was a little bit helpful for you guys, helping you decide where to get some of your miniatures for to play the old world. All these kits are perfectly usable, and there's a whole host of other options out there that we can use for the old world. So I definitely want to try things like Blood Knights in the future. I think they might be a slightly awkward one. Absolutely stellar models and brilliant in the old world. So I would love to bring them to a tabletop and see if they can be ranked up, and a whole host of other things. If there's anything that you are personally curious about and you want to see ranked up, I probably have it in my pile of shame that I'm more than happy to build for the old world. So please just let me know in the comments below what units you want to see, and let me know if you are excited to see Seraphon or Warriors of Chaos being used in a battle report near you, and I can perhaps get the rest of the armies built up, painted up, and ready for the tabletop. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a like. Ask me any questions you want in the comments below. I get back to each and every one of you guys, and there has never been a better time to get subscribed to the channel. I'm doing a Titan giveaway this year. So my plan is, if I get to 65,000 subscribers by the end of the year, I'm going to give away a Warhound. 85,000, I'm going to give away a Reaver. And if I reach my goal of 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2024, I'm going to give away a Warlord Titan. So I think that's pretty exciting. So to be in with a chance of entering, just subscribe. Thank you so much for sticking around at the end of the video, guys. I'll see you in the next one.